Hi, all my preschool friends. So good to be with you today. You know I miss you so much, but I feel closer to you when we get to spend the day together learning about Jesus and the stories from the Bible. For today's lesson, you need two things. You need your activity sheet, and remember, it's okay if you don't have it. I'll talk you through it. And then if you could get a flashlight, look, I just have a couple little ones here, but you may have a big one. So go get your activity sheet and a flashlight and meet me back here. Welcome back. You can just put your activity sheet and your flashlights down beside you. I've got a couple questions for you today. Have you ever seen anything change? Like a caterpillar goes into a chrysalis and then opens up and becomes a beautiful butterfly. Maybe like you've seen little birds in the spring and they grew up and became big birds. It's sort of like my doggies. They were little puppies and they grew into doggies. So have you ever seen anything like that? Ever seen anything change? What about this question? Have you ever been in the dark? Now I'm guessing when you go to bed at night, it's pretty dark. Maybe some of you have night lights. But have you ever been in the dark? And how did that make you feel, being in the dark? Were some of you scared? Do you have your scared faces? Some of you maybe like being in the dark. Well, we're going to hear a story today about both of those things. We're going to hear about someone who changes. This is going to be about a person who changes. And something happens that life becomes dark for him. So I'm going to get out my Bible storybook. And I'm going to go into a story about a man named Paul from our Bible. So Paul and his friends were on their way to a city called Damascus. Paul had heard that there were many followers, those are followers of Jesus, in Damascus. Paul was going to arrest Jesus' followers and bring them back. That means he was sort of going to capture them and bring them back. Oh, that's not a good thing. Suddenly, a bright light from heaven flashed around Paul. Paul fell to the ground and covered his eyes. Paul, Paul, said a voice from the light, why are you being unkind to my followers? The voice was Jesus. Get up, Paul, and go into the city, said Jesus. Someone will come and help you. When Paul stood up, he couldn't see. It was very dark. Paul's friends had to lead Paul to the city. A man named Ananias lived in the city. He was a follower of Jesus. One day, Ananias heard the voice of Jesus. Find the man named Paul, said Jesus. But Paul is unkind to followers of Jesus, said Ananias. I am afraid. I have chosen Paul to tell others about me, said Jesus. You must go to him. So even though Ananias was afraid, he went to Paul. Paul was sitting in a house he could not see. Paul, said Ananias, Jesus sent me to help you. Then Ananias touched Paul's face. Immediately, Paul was able to see again. Paul was baptized and became a follower of Jesus. Paul began to tell everyone he met about Jesus. Paul had changed. What an amazing story. Paul goes from being a guy who doesn't like Jesus' followers, and in fact he's going to capture them and arrest them, to becoming the person who tells people all about Jesus. All things are possible through Jesus. So Jesus was able to change Paul. So let's now get out our activity sheet because we are going to act out the story. Again, if you don't have your sheet, no big deal. You just follow me and do what I say. So here we go. Paul did not like followers of Jesus. Make a mean face. He did not like them. He was on his way to Damascus to arrest people who followed Jesus. Mean Paul. Put on that mean face. There we go. Suddenly, a bright light appeared. Open your eyes in surprise. Can you show me your surprise? Face. Paul fell to the ground. Everybody fall to the ground. Fall to the ground and cover your eyes. The voice of Jesus. Paul, Paul, why are you being unkind to my followers? Jesus told Paul to go to Damascus and someone would help them. So point like we're going to go to Damascus. When Paul got up, he could not see. Get up and cover your eyes. His friends led him to the city where he waited and prayed. So let's do our prayer hands. So Paul was just waiting. Jesus told Ananias to go to Paul and help him. Ananias was afraid, but he did as Jesus asked. So let's pretend we're walking. We're Ananias, and we are walking to help Paul. When Ananias touched Paul's face, Paul could see again. Touch your face. Open your eyes in surprise. You could see again. Paul was baptized and became a follower of Jesus. Paul told everyone he met about Jesus. So let's pretend we're Paul, we're walking, and we're saying all we can to everyone about Jesus. That sort of reminds me of our Bible verse. Remember our verse? As for us, we can't stop speaking about what we have seen and heard. All right, let's see if we can remember it, because we just heard an amazing story about Paul changing from being someone who didn't like followers of Jesus to telling everyone about Jesus. That's something we need to talk about and tell people about. So let's remember our verse. Remember, we do as for us. You do that. As for us. We can't stop talking about it. Do that. We can't stop talking about what we have seen. Do that. What we have seen and heard. And heard. So let's try it a little faster. You repeat after me. As for us. As for us. We can't stop talking about. We can't stop talking about all we have seen. All we have seen and heard. And heard. That's exactly right. That's sort of like Paul. He had Jesus talk to him and change him, and so he couldn't stop telling everybody all about it. And that's exactly what Jesus wants us to do. He wants us to just tell everyone about how much Jesus loves them, cares for them, and always forgives them. All right, friends, now it is time to get our flashlights. Do you have your flashlights nearby? All right, I got to do something first. I got to make the room dark so we can see our flashlights. Okay, I'm back, friends. I made my room a little darker so maybe we can see our flashlights better. So get out your flashlight. Got my flashlight here. This is sort of like that amazing bright light. Remember in our story, Paul was walking along and then Jesus shone a bright light down on him. Can you put your light way up in the air and shine that light down? Well, we can sort of have some fun with flashlights. You know, you can shine your flashlight up on a wall and look, you see shadows, you see my hand? Look, you can do things. Oh, I'm like an alligator. Oh, I can put some ears up. I can be like a bunny hopping. You can make all kinds of different shadow things with your hands. I can even do my I love you up on the wall. So you can have some fun with flashlights, making some shadows. Do you know you can even play a game with flashlights? You can play flashlight tag. So the person that's it has the flashlight and you play in the dark and everybody else runs around and the person that's it tries to shine the light, and when the light hits you, that's just like you got tagged in tag. So you can play flashlight tag. So friends, you can have a whole bunch of fun with flashlights, but remember this. Remember, it is like the light of Christ shining down. Christ's light will always shine through everything. So when you might be afraid in the dark, you can turn on that flashlight and you can think of Jesus being right there with you, with the light shining through the darkness. Now, I want to sing a song today because you guys know it's one of my favorites, because I always want you to know not only is Jesus with us like the light in the darkness, but Jesus loves us no matter what. So you're ready to sing with me some Jesus Loves Me. Here we go. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong. They are weak, but he is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so. Don't you ever forget how much Jesus loves you, and he's always there for you, just like that light in the darkness. We're going to finish up today, friends, with a prayer. Remember how we do that? We put our hands in the air. It's time to say a prayer. And this will be an echo prayer, so you say what I say. Dear God, thank you for your stories. Thank you for your stories that remind us how much Jesus loves us. That reminds us how much Jesus loves us. And he can change anybody. And he can change anybody. Help us to love. Help us to love like Jesus loves. Like Jesus loves. We love you, God. We love you, God. Amen. Friends, thank you so much for spending your day with me, and I can't wait to see you next time. Jesus loves you so much. Bye-bye.